Our first Home Depot trip in the van.
Kids. Wear your seatbelt, kids. So today we're working on our roof deck. We bought this super strut, which is Home Depot's unistrut basically. We have to take off all the stickers and clean it with a little bit of water first, and then we're gonna clean the whole thing before priming and painting it for outdoor use. As you can see, we set up our little painting station in the garage here so that we don't get covered in pollen and stuff from the DC springtime.
Time to clean. Here we go.
Resourceful tip, we're using old white t-shirts that are no longer able to be used and just ripping them into different rag sizes. Yeah.
We have the silver galvanized super strut from Home Depot. It's rather cheap, and that means that it's already been treated for rust, but we're gonna prime it and put rust paint on it just in case so that it doesn't get affected by the weather. Okay, so we have 10-foot super strut. We have 5 different bars. 2 of them we're gonna keep full length, and then the other 3 we're going to cut in half. Dylan is currently picking up a blade for the saw to cut them in half. Right now, I'm gonna start priming the 2 of the 10-foot ones, and this takes 2 hours to dry, and we have to do 2 coats. Once we've done the primer, then we can paint it with another Rust-Oleum paint, which helps protect it from rust. We have to cut our super strut in half, so we've got it all set up to go. We've got it marked at the halfway point. We've got this to hold it down, and we're ready to go.
We're using a Porter cable recip saw, which is pretty beautiful. We're using Milwaukee Sawzall blades. They're metal cutting blades. A recip saw goes back and forth. So recip saw isn't the best option for cutting this, but it's better than some other things, and it's what we have available, so that's why we're going for it. We have this makeshift setup right here. We only have 1 vise right now, so we did a vise on this side to hold it tight. And we're having Lita stand over here and hold it on this side. I put tape on either side of the line that I need to cut just to kind of help guide me and keep it nice.
Successful cuts of the unistrut. It is now 5 feet, and now we're just filing down the edges. So after we prime it, we're going to use this gloss black Rust-Oleum paint to protect the super strut from rust and make it black. And they're done with the second coat. Now we just have to let them dry for a couple hours and they should be ready to go.
So for a torque wrench, you can set it to the right amount of inch pounds or Newton meters that you need to tighten the torque to. And that way you know you're tightening the bolts to their correct specification and not over tightening or under tightening, which is important when you're driving in a vehicle.
Measuring and making some decisions about how we want to cut these unistruts to fit our roof. So we have 10-foot unistruts, which don't fit the whole roof, so we have to use 2 different ones. So Dylan's right now figuring out exactly what the measurements are that we want.
We could have ordered 12, but it was expensive.
It was really expensive to get 12-foot unistrut, like hundreds of dollars. So we are just using what we have. All right, today's the day that we're gonna put these roof panels that we already painted and showed you the process of onto our roof. So Dylan, what are you gonna use?
We're gonna use these Unaka Gear Co. brackets that we found from Haley and Jake. Big win there. We ordered enough to secure these up there, and we have a torque wrench. So I'm gonna climb up there and attach our first set. So the Ram Promaster comes with these factory knobs right here. I don't know if they're called knobs, but this is what they are. They look like this. And as you can see, they have them spaced out along the top of the van on both sides. And it's so that you can attach things without drilling into the hole. So we have our gear set here, our clamp set here. So what we're gonna do is take this and slide it in. What happens is when you take this, you put it on here, you can see the holes are down in there. You take your strut and you put it on top of here. And I'm not gonna screw it in right now, but what you would do then is take the bolts with some Loctite and thread them through those holes. So here's our first side. We couldn't get the long unistrut, so as you can see, we have two pieces. And what our plan is to use these magnetic connectors to, and if I can show you an example right here, put these over one of them and then use bolts and washers in there so it'll go right under that and connect the two to be a little bit more sturdy. So as you can see, we have our Unaka gear brackets on the factory mounts and they're bolted on. And then we have one over here too on the next knob over. But what we did here is we didn't have a long enough unistrut, so we cut two pieces, one for the back and then one for the front behind me. And we got this magnetic holder right here. And we got this magnetic holder right here that looks like this. And then we just bolted it in on either side of that connection point. And what it's gonna do is hold this stable and all aligned so that we have a little bit more stability. So I'm arranging the solar panels on their strut. What I did was I measured where the holes were on here and aligned them to this piece so that I could kind of see where it should go. And then I did the same over here. Turns out this one fits on two different holes, but this one does not. So we're gonna have to drill a hole in this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put bolts through with a washer and nut on the other side and some Loctite. All right, it's time to install the roof. We have these bolt nuts and some washers in there. I'm gonna take these struts and put them across the railings that we already set up, kind of like this. Nut goes on the inside, bolt goes up through the top, and secure it. Little behind the scenes here. I just washed the top of the roof and now Lita's taking care of a couple rust spots. Bought some cleaner and preventer that she's working on right now.
all of the roof racks are up on the roof, which means now it's time to assemble all the parts. So it's time to put the solar panels up and then our roof deck. Also, excuse the tree, we're just trying to get in the shade as much as possible.
So I'm gonna start by cutting and staining these planks. We bought them for the rooftop deck. We have 7 of them and they're 10 feet 1 inch long. So I'm gonna cut 4 of them in half to get the planks across on the shorter side of the roof, and 3 of them will stay long. So I'm gonna measure them and mark somewhere in the middle with a line, and then come over to our miter saw, which will make it easy to just do a quick cut through. All you do is turn it on and then press down and it'll cut through, and it slides too if I need to go across anymore.
All right, ready to use this miter saw. Here we go.
Okay, so we have our planks cut and sanded and then wiped with a wet rag. That way we can start staining. See here, I have my stain brush. We decided to go with Ipswich pine as our color. Pro tip here, for my sawhorses, I put painter's tape on, so when we are doing things like painting the strut and staining, it doesn't get all over the sawhorse. So, see how it goes.
We got some staining going on here. Look at that. Looks so nice. How's it going, Dylan?
It's going pretty well. It's a little hot out, but don't worry everyone, I have sunscreen on. Not sure how good it's gonna do, but just me out here singing with some cicadas.
Love it. We've got Dylan's parents here today helping us with the roof. Hello.
We're looking at the roof deck. These are the long planks. What we did was we aligned one of the boards with where the rails are gonna go. And then, as you can see, I put a little tiny dot where we need to put the bolts. So what I'm gonna do on these holes is I'm gonna first pilot them and then drill them out for the bolt size that we're using. And then lastly, I'm gonna give it a little bit of depth for with the spade bit in order to put a washer in it and sink the bolts.
We're measuring the boards so we know where to put the bolts, and then we're gonna go down and then drill the holes and countersink them so that they fit. So we have some short planks over there and then some longer ones for where the solar panels stop. There's like extra room on the side.
Camouflage measuring.
Who is that? I think I spy a wild Dylan. All right, we have one of our planks in, and now we're just checking the holes, or where we want to put the holes on all the other ones, just to make sure our measurements are extra right, because if we mess up, it'll cause a whole issue. Plank down. In order to secure the boards onto the unistrut, we use these bolts that have a spring on them, so they stick in there and then they press up against the edge. The only thing is when they go into this hole, or really when they move around at all, they're very annoying. So they've been taking us a really long time, but I think I've got the hang of it. We're putting the panels on our roof deck, or the boards, and we're using this torque wrench, and we have it set to the setting we want it. And then you know that the torque wrench is done and the bolt is completely tight when you turn it. Okay, it might need a little more, and then it's gonna click. Ready? There we go. You hear that click? That means that this is tight enough. So it's fully torqued to the board. My cousins are here helping us out on the van on the most fun part, which is sitting on the roof. And we're putting more of the roof deck in. We've got a bolt that is stuck. It's gone crooked, and so we need to get it out.
Where's the,
Dylan is now going to saw this thing off. We got this. Safety goggles are on. We're ready to go. The roof deck is in, and it is so nice to just be able to sit up here. Check this out. Just a lovely day on the van roof. Can't wait to go stargazing and lay down. Oh, this is the life. We read online that it's bad to set up your solar panels in the sun, so we've made a cardboard template to tape on top of the solar panels for when we install them on the roof. And then once the electricity is all set up, then we can take the cardboard off. Cardboard is on and the solar panels are ready to go up. We are using 3M mounting tape, and we're gonna go around and put it all over. In some places we're going to try and bolt as well, so I put tape on this side and this side, and we'll see if I'm able to bolt them in as well, just as like an extra precaution. But the 3M mounting tape is really strong, and most people say they have no issues with it. The first solar panel is mounted with 3M tape to the roof deck, and we have the cardboard on, so you can't really see that it's a solar panel, but we're going to take it off when it's all connected. The roof is done. The panels are up. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video on our roof deck, make sure you subscribe and follow along for all of our van build and our van adventures.